Hey guys, what's going on? So, you know what time it is. Another draft here for us on ESPN. So, today we are doing a draft from the 103 in a 12-team PPR league on ESPN. I'm stoked for this pick because it's my personal pick in my home league snake draft. So, we're going to get some good experience. And I do have two of my friends in the draft with us. My friend Ryan is at pick 2, and Colin is at pick 9. So, yeah, let's see what we can get. Super excited for this one, and another draft for y'all to see. What should I be doing? Kind of strategy. I'm going to talk through it with you, and if you haven't seen 1 and 2, go check them out, and let's get after it. We got 23 seconds here. Pressure's on because this is my actual pick, so better get some money. Ryan better let somebody fall to me. All right. Ryan's up on the clock. Let's see who we got. Who'd he go? Christian McCaffrey. Okay. Of course. I would have, I took Jamar Chase in the 102 video. That's kind of my guy at 2. So to take him at 3 seems wrong, but I'm not going to pass up on him. But we're going to go. Normally, I wouldn't pass up on him. And I know what you're thinking. Why the hell would you take a tight end at number 3? I don't know. But I will tell you why. Because Kelsey's a player. Yes, he's 33, but he gives us elite upside and elite difference making at the tight end position versus any competition. And that's what you want in the first round. I would have normally taken Chase there, but for the purpose of not taking the same player I took at the 102 in the 103 draft, we're going to mix it up and take someone new. I think Kelsey gives us a legitimate shot to have a much different roster build than the general public would at the 103. And essentially, I look at it like, if I take Chase and my competitor has CeeDee Lamb and, week over week, they're probably not too far off each other, maybe 10 points, 5 points. If I have Kelsey and someone else has Greg Dulcich, later in the 10th, 11th, 12th round, dude, my point differential could be 10 to 20 points. So you really, really give yourself a chance to win and compete deep and late. And if Kelsey is healthy, I have no doubt that he's going to be the focal point of that Kansas City offense again. So it feels weird taking a tight end at 3, but it's not a pick I'm mad about. So let's see who else falls to us here at pick 22. All right. Dude, Jalen Waddle makes it to us here. I would be ecstatic. Either way, we're going to have our pick of the receivers. But that would be an amazing pick. Jalen Waddle makes it to us here. I'm not going to overthink this. That Miami offense is going to be legit. I think Tua is going to take the next step. He was the receiver with the most yards per reception in the league last year. I think, him and Tyreek are going to dominate. Tyreek's going to dominate, but he's a great number 2 and part of the best wide receiver duo in the league. I'm taking him all day as my wide receiver 1. So through the first 2 rounds, we've got Jalen Waddle and Travis Kelce. I think that's looking pretty nice, and we've got them lined up with bye weeks, which personally I've talked about in previous videos, but I like to do that because I'm willing to sacrifice 1 week without my best players to have them for the rest than to stagger it and be without one of my best players here and there. And it could screw me for multiple weeks versus just 1 week. Okay. Let's see here. Patrick Mahomes is gone. Someone we would have looked to stack with Kelsey. That's okay, though. Who's Ryan going to take here? He took Olave. He took Olave first in his second-round pick. He goes Devontae Smith. And now we're looking. Okay. Do we take a top quarterback? Do we take Metcalf? I love to take a top quarterback. That's just what I love. I've been playing the new Madden. I'm taking Josh Allen here all day. I'm not sold on DK in that Seattle offense. A lot of mouths to feed. I'm a big JSN guy. I don't know that DK is going to get the volume to demand my top of the third round pick. I'm going to take Josh Allen there. And we have a monster team right now. So we've got potentially a top our quarterback could finish as a QB1. Absolutely. Our tight end has been the top tight end in the league, I think 3 years in a row, and in fantasy. And Jalen Waddle, a player that I believe should be top 10 receiver, and I think has the athleticism and the offense to be top 5 potentially, barring if any injury to him or Tua. Because when Tua went out last year, it sucked. And I had Jalen Waddle on my team. So, all right. After we pick up Josh Allen, DK Metcalf, Jalen Hurts go off the board, followed by ETN, Najee, Aaron Jones, and then Mark Andrews. Colin takes Mark Andrews. Let's see how Colin's team's looking. So Colin has Stephon Diggs, A.J. Brown, and Mark Andrews. That's a pretty good squad. I like that team a lot. Going with the 0 RB build. And then Ryan has Christian McCaffrey, Chris Olave, and Devontae Smith as also a pretty good-looking team. I think we all kind of went with different builds for sure. So we kind of went with let's lock in a top quarterback, let's lock in a top tight end, and then let's build the other skill positions later. Versus we definitely went with a 0 RB build or potentially hero RB if we get a running back to fall to us. And then lock in a top end wide receiver too in Jalen Waddle. I think he could definitely bring wide receiver 1 value. But I'm very happy with how this has gone, taking Kelsey at number 3. And maybe something I'll consider doing in my home league. But I do love Jamar Chase, but I'm Kelsey there at number 3 isn't a bad pick. Who's Colin going to take here? Took Andrews with his last pick. So he's needs a running back. Not really any top running backs on the board. So he might look to go quarterback. And he goes Lamar. I know my buddy too well. Goes Lamar. Getting that top-tier quarterback is just so important. I think a lot in years past, people who wait till the very later rounds can get somebody, but it's just essential. All right, on the board here, potentially locking in Alvin Kamara. There is a lot of good, but I am gonna take a young guy who I think his athleticism. I think he can definitely make some noise. That's Christian Watson. You're talking about a guy that in his rookie year showed flashes, and I think he's pretty much going to be the guy, him and Romeo Doubs, in Green Bay. I love the athleticism. I love the upside. We'll lock him in. I'm not taking Kamara just because he is suspended 3 games, and I don't want my RB1 out for 3 games. So Ryan will take him, though. Ryan, that's his RB2, so that makes more sense. We just can't afford it. Now, if James Conner for some reason falls to us, that would be amazing. I'm not very high on the Cardinals offense this year. But I do think that he's not going to be challenged too much for touches. They did sign Marlon Mack, who instantly obliterated his leg. So I'm guessing Ryan takes TJ here, and then we're going to get James Conner. I'm hoping that's what happens. He does like DeAndre, though. And he goes neither. He goes DJ Moore. Okay. And we're going to get James Conner here. I think we couldn't have scripted it up better. We get James Conner to fall to us, a guy who, he's getting older. He's not the same guy he was a couple years ago in Pittsburgh, but he's going to be the bell cow, the workhorse pretty much. He's going to get the bulk of the carries, and he's a guy who we feel good about in a draft where our first 4 picks were non-running backs. We feel good about him at our RB1 spot. Very, very good about him at our RB1 spot. And look how far Breece Hall has fallen, guys. He was going in the late second, early third round of drafts when I drafted before the Dalvin Cook news. Now Breece Hall is going at pick 64. Unreal. And can you blame him, though? I mean, you're talking about they bring in Dalvin Cook, who was good last year. Dalvin Cook was still really, really good last year. So I think he's definitely got plenty left in the tank. It sucks for Breece. I was a big Breece Hall guy. I would have loved to see him get that backfield to himself, but I think the Jets just really want to utilize the years they have with Rodgers. Try and make a run at it. You can't really blame them. So after we take Connor, TJ goes off the board. Hopkins, Godwin, Deontay Johnson, Mike Evans. Colin takes Terry McLaurin. Then Colin also takes Breece Hall. Interesting. Okay. Auto draft's hitting right now. We're up on the board. And I think the running back drop-off here, and I'll explain my next pick. The running back drop-off here is significant, and usually Cam Akers probably wouldn't have made it to us here, so we're going to draft him and not overthink. I'm a huge Drake London guy, and I would have loved him for our flex, but being able to lock in Akers at our RB2 in this situation is a steal. Is an absolute steal. He's going to get the bulk of the carries. He's super athletic. He was crazy down the stretch. I think he was a top 10 running back weeks 13 through 18 last year. So he's definitely a guy we feel really good. And Ryan goes Pat Freiermuth. He needed a tight end. And we get a gift to fall to us at Drake London. This draft is going amazing. I could not have scripted this up better. We get the best of both worlds. We get Drake London. Would have liked to David Montgomery or Cam Akers is tough, but I think Cam Akers, athletic, he gets the backfield mostly to himself versus David Montgomery has to give away a lot of the targets to Jahmyr Gibbs. But Drake London, a player that was crazy efficient on his targets last year, but just didn't have great catchable targets. The quarterback play was pretty bad. Mariota, huge Oregon Ducks guy here. I loved watching Mariota, but he is far from what he was at Oregon. And, man, watching him on Quarterback, that show on Netflix, was pretty cool. But, man, he wasn't very good last year. So I think Drake London, Ritter's now had some time to develop. I would like to see him take the next step. I think he's a great pick in our flex. All right. So Colin snagged up David Montgomery. Big surprise. We're all Lions fans. Me and my buddies, all Lions fans, if you couldn't tell. So Colin snags up Montgomery. I'm not surprised there. And then we'll see who he takes next. All right. So coming up on pick 94, I'm really hoping that JSN makes it back to us. JSN, a guy that has all the talent in the world, and they've had health issues there in Seattle with DK and Lockett. I think in 3 wide receiver sets, which they don't run a lot of historically, they're going to find a way to utilize him. You don't spend a first-round pick on a guy like JSN who outpaced Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave at Ohio State as a true sophomore, and you don't draft him to just ride the bench. He falls to us. He's right here. Other players we're considering for sure is DeAndre Swift, but I'd like to load up on wide receivers, and then we have more options in our flex as we do start a flex, 2 wide receivers. We're in a full PPR league. You're not really going to start a running back in your flex. So JSN, lock it in. I feel great about that pick. And, in years past, not a big rookie wide receiver guy, but I'm excited for it. Ryan goes Sky Moore right after us, followed by DeAndre Swift, J.K. Dobbins, and we will see falls to him. This is where I start to hate things. Okay. For me here, there's only one option really of these guys that I like, and that's going to be Brian Robinson. I think Brian Robinson, a player that a lot of times goes overlooked, and I think Washington in general is just an overlooked team. Jahan Dotson, another wide receiver that I think second-year player that really is overlooked. But Brian Robinson, a player that's very capable, underrated in the pass-catching game. I think that with him getting more opportunity, being healthy for a full season, and Antonio Gibson kind of, not vulturing as much, and maybe Robinson gets more opportunity. He's been running with the ones. I really like him as our running back 3. I think that's a great option. If he doesn't work out, we get somebody off waivers, but I think he's going to have plenty of opportunity and really could be a breakout candidate this year. I've put too much faith in Antonio Gibson in years past. I drafted him his rookie year. He has so much elite upside, but fumble issues, health issues. We're going to look to Brian Robinson and to be the guy. All right. So halfway through round 10, our team is Josh Allen at quarterback, James Conner, Cam Akers, Jalen Waddle, Christian Watson, Travis Kelce, Drake London, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Brian Robinson. That's a pretty good team. All right. So potentially a backup quarterback. There's so many quarterbacks here, and I took him in the last draft as well. I'm taking him every time. That's Elijah Moore. I mean, you can't beat that at wide receiver 5 for us. You're talking about a player that's still 23 years old. 23 years old going into his third season in the NFL. He's going to a new team. He's finding that, hopefully Deshaun Watson is kind of showing his Houston, self back to playing at an elite level with an elite quarterback. I think Elijah Moore will have great opportunity, and if he can even perform, up to his rookie levels or even a little bit further, then he way outperforms his wide receiver 5 draft for us. So it's pretty much a no-risk pick for me and a no-brainer. Okay, and now is where I'm probably looking to grab my backup quarterback, potentially, just with the guys we have available. Although I love Jared Goff down the board. I think Goff is going to outperform things. I do like Anthony Richardson, but we're actually going to take Kenneth Gainwell. So Kenneth Gainwell, wasn't super high on Gainwell until I heard in camp. I've seen the reports out of camp, and Philly loves to use a multi-running back system and committee system. But Gainwell has taken the majority of snaps with the ones, the most snaps with the ones in camp this summer. And so I think that says a little bit of something. I wouldn't buy into that too much. But to take him as our running back 4 and deep on our bench. And if it doesn't work out, we just drop him and pick somebody else up on waivers. I think if he even has a remote role in that offense that's relevant, then I believe that pick is worth it. Am I the biggest Kenneth Gainwell fan? No, but his value is good. The news has been good about him, so I'm going to take him. Now, we need to look backup tight end, and we need to be looking backup quarterback here. Potentially, if no one falls to us, we can always stream, but I like to get a guy just so you don't have to worry about it. Greg Dulcich, gone. Okay, would have liked to get him. All right. KJ Osborne, Nico Collins, Kadarius Toney, Paris Campbell, Chiggy. We're going to go Kadarius Toney. And I'll tell you because I want more pieces of that. I'll tell you after this pick. Okay. We're going to take a backup tight end in Dalton Kincaid just to stack with Josh Allen. We would have considered Okonkwo, but we have Josh Allen, so why not take his guy? In explaining the Toney pick, he is our wide receiver 6. And at that draft position, I believe that if he comes back healthy, yes, he's a gadget player, but elite athleticism in a dominant offense, I believe that gives us tremendous upside at his ADP. So if he can be healthy and it works out, that's a smash pick. And if he ends up biting the dust, he's at the bottom of our bench. So it's no harm, no foul to us, and we can pick someone else up. Kind of like all these guys down here. Outside of your top guys, it's all you're shooting for upside. If you're playing the safe pick, you're playing this game all wrong. All right. Damian Harris going scary low on drafts. We need to get a quarterback. I prefer to get a backup just because when you're streaming, you never know these last couple rounds who's going to get somebody. And we're going to take a bet on our Lions. I think these Lions are going to be something special this year. So I'm taking Jared Goff. If he ends up just needing to sub in for Josh Allen 1 week, that's fine. If he ends up going off, we can use him as a trade value to somebody who doesn't have good quarterback play. So it's a win-win. Okay. We've gone with the Panthers in every single draft. They just happen to be here every time. We're continuing it, baby. Panthers defense. Those linebackers, those young DBs, I say it every video. We're going to see how many videos we can take the Panthers defense and Riley Patterson at kicker. Can we do it every video? Let's find out. Because honestly, this channel's motto, we don't like kickers and defenses. That's it. If you can get rid of them in leagues, do it. It's way better. It's just random scoring. There's no strategy. Well, there's some strategy in picking up like a defense based off matchup, but you're talking about like any good defense too nowadays can just get blown out or dropped a bunch of points or fluky, they can get turnovers and go crazy against you. I lost like 3 games last year by less than a point because of defenses and kickers. All right. Riley Patterson's here, but we've got some options, okay? You know what? We're going Greg Zuerlein. We did it. We mixed it up. Okay, so that is going to conclude our draft from the 103 position in our ESPN mock draft 12-team PPR. Our team ended up being Josh Allen, James Conner, Cam Akers, Jalen Waddle, Christian Watson, Travis Kelce, Drake London, Panthers D, Greg Zerline. And then on our bench, we have JSN, Brian Robinson, Elijah Moore, Kenneth Gainwell, Kadarius Toney, Dalton Kincaid, and Jared Goff at backup QB. So hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know how you think I did in the comments, and make sure to like and subscribe, and check out the other videos. I've already done the 101 and the 102, and after this, we're going to continue until we get all the way through to 12. So let me know if you would have done anything differently, and yeah, look forward to catching you guys in the next one. Peace.